Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the announcement.
Girl.
Something to do with Byzantian Brewscast number 12. It's the
We're in
it's
office
it,
now.
it's the podcast of all time.
We are in office now. It's inaugural.
Sure, yeah, we're
Yes.
inaugural. We're in office. That's right. We've taken over. Sealand, and now we're the presidents of a tiny country that no one really cares about. Uh, Possibly a
Um,
micronation, so it technically doesn't even qualify as a country. Don't worry about that.
no taxes.
That's true. That's true. We don't have to pay tax anymore. In Sealand, specifically. We still have to pay our tax to the United Kingdom, I guess.
It's just some little vassal state. On the
Yeah,
dependents, though.
yeah.
Could have a referendum on it.
No.
Uh, hmm.
Sealand's it, or whatever. Sealand? No, that just sounds like a venereal disease. Anyway,
Oh,
welcome everybody. I'm Chaotic Jacksack.
numbers and you know.
Welcome all to our podcast. We hope you're doing well. What have you been up to this week?
I've been with a cold for a bit. It's
Oh
been rubbish.
no, you
And it's
did.
starting to wear off. And
Yeah, you
not
did
so
sound a
rubbish.
bit stuffy. Bless you.
I was ill, but not that ill yet.
Hmm.
So I do Nuke impression was good, which that was fun.
Eee.
I was ill, so then it wasn't so fun. Oh
Hmm.
well.
Ugh. I've been well. I actually, what have I been doing this week? Not a whole lot, honestly. It's been kind of a quiet week for me. I was gonna go to convention, then I wasn't, and then there was a toy fair that I forgot about that I didn't go to. It's been one of the weeks of all time. The theme of this week is I can't remember things.
What? No.
Ah
Um,
well.
the other one, I did get out for a friendly game of Blood Bowl yesterday with Brett.
Woo.
It may be the best game Edward's ever put out, and I just never played it.
Ah,
I was completely ridiculous. I think you'd love it, Jay, because it's so silly.
I do like the gnomes box. I think it is for obvious reasons.
I just played an exhibition game. I think it was playing Vampire Counts was playing Black Orcs. It was so stupid.
Oh.
The whole first half. No one scored. We were
uh,
just a punch up in a field.
Yeah, I might see if I can slyly get like a gnome thing 3D printed, except instead of it being gnomes, it's just that one mini over and over again with the goose, and that's it. Just a whole bunch of geese, and maybe the gnomes are just like side dressing. It's like technically it's a gnome team. Technically,
I've
that's
got the Lizard Man team, which
oh.
might be fun.
Hmm.
Um, I do a team I can get stuck in with, but the whole game was really funny. Would love to play that again.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So you know how Warhammer Fantasy is super serious all the time. Yeah, it might take
Yes,
all of that out, and it's just like a load of football fans deck each other in the field and occasionally scoring a goal.
I love that. That sounds like something orcs would absolutely love.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do. They absolutely do. Yeah, that's the Orc team was really easy to play because you just thought like an Orc for a bit, which mainly involved punching people. Um, with mixed results because they have like regular D6s, then you got like weird dice just for Blood Bowl
Interesting.
that can do nothing, stun people, or worst case, or the I'm not sure this is good or great. You can hit your opponent so hard you knock yourself over as well.
You just charge
So
into them too
it
hard and
gets
you bowl yourself over.
yeah,
I love it.
just you bowl them over as well, but you knock both players out.
Just
Things get really steady really fast. Like I learned really quickly about they have a rule called really stupid, which the troll has to live with.
Yeah.
So basically, every turn the troll has to roll to see if it can actually do anything that turn. And it's just that dumb.
Me when I wake up in the morning.
On that start every turn. Also, if you have any other unit which doesn't have the really stupid rule, you have to roll a 5 or more for it to do anything.
Oh.
So the first half of the game, the troll ended up on its own, knocked over on the floor, and failed every turn to get up.
It just
Just
sort of
sat there on the
sat
floor,
there.
too dumb to get up. Didn't know any better.
Oh dear. I heard about Blood Bowl like from a few of my friends, like I think in the Dad Shack Cord, which is Georgine's and Danny's Discord. Some of them play Blood Bowl in there, and it's very funny. It's like absolute pure chaos. Every time they post about it, it's like, wait, you could do that?
Oh yeah, you can you can throw small models as well if they're the right size. There's a rule for that too.
Just punt the dwarf.
And no, it's more like black orcs can throw goblins,
Ah, yep.
trolls throw goblins, but trolls run the risk of eating the goblin they pick up. So that's a thing that can happen.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the game is chaos, but it's really, really funny.
Just I need to score points in my team, but I'm quite peckish. Crunch.
Oh, the vampire rolls are really funny. It's not high roll, but Brett had to roll bloodlust for every vampire on the team, and if they fail, they have to attack the nearest thing near them before they can act normally again. So what he has to do, he has to have at least one like Thrall, which is like their rubbish players,
Hmm.
next to them. So when they fail their bloodlust check, they simply attack the Thrall next to them instead. And it is entirely possible to accidentally completely take one of your players off the field with that.
Oh dear.
The other trick being vampires are really, really good. The Thralls are rubbish, but they're there to avoid,
Yes.
they're there to just keep bloodlust in check. But you can take them off the field if you're not careful. It's really, really stupid.
Interesting.
Oh, another rule I really like about that. Um, it's really simple rules with strength. Obviously, that's play for tackling and stuff
Uh huh.
and punching. So if you match them, you roll one dice.
Yes.
If you have one more than them, or they're more one than you get an extra dice or support. Then you get another one.
Interesting.
Um, but the way it works is if their strength is double yours all the way round, the attacker rolls the dice, and the person with double the strength chooses which dice.
Oh.
So that could be some quite fun things. Like the first round, do you know the Vargulfs, like the huge vampire monsters from
Yes.
yeah. Of course, the vampire team has one of those as their like big monster, and it failed to stop a goblin. Like it rolled two fumbles, and so it ran up to this goblin and fell face first.
Oh. Oh.
It's a game where a Vargeist can completely fail to overwhelm a single goblin if you're really lucky.
Wow.
I think you'd love it, Jake. It's complete chaos.
We might have to try that at some point for skirmish report.
Yes, yeah, Melism team up.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I'd like to do more this week, but I was ill and sleeping weird and not feeling great.
I get you. So on to our tabletop book club for this week. What have we got?
This week I got something This one a little bit different. Let me fish it out. There it is. So, it's this is just called the Bestiary. I have no idea what system it's for. I'm going to assume second edition D&D because it's quite
Old?
old school art style,
Man.
and it's just a really interesting little book. I remember buying it for like maybe £5
Hmm.
in a lovely shop called Two Fat Goblins in Stafford.
Aw.
It's really good place if you want just to find some odd stuff. I found the Dragon Ball Z books in there. I found a lot of my obscure bits of my collection in there. Um, it's got a load of just it covers everything from demons to dragons and just weirder undead that a lot of D&D doesn't really have.
Mm.
It's more on just the fact that look at this cool thing, it exists. Um, it's, it's quite a solid little book. There's a lot of there's some really cool ones. I've like some weird humanoids that I don't think I've seen popped up in just about anything else. Not sure why. Let's have a look. Um, oh yeah, it's also got winged hydras as well as a thing because this is where I got the idea for like dragons, including drakes and everything else as well.
Yeah. Yes.
So it treats like it's like a family. It's quite cool. What else is there? Monstrosities, magical stuff, were creatures. Where's it at? There we are. Atel Rab. They're like desert lizard people.
Ooh.
They're just kind of cool. They're like very
Mm.
Conan-esque. They're all like very tall, scaly, ride weird, scaly lizard horses,
Mm.
and they're all like very desert nomady, which is quite fun.
Mm. Nice.
There's a what's it? What the Ruas? Then there's a whole book. It's quite a good book. Yetis, lemurs. There's a lot of the stuff that's already in codexes, but this is just like other fantasy creatures probably you might not have heard of. And I really
Uh-huh.
rate it because I bought it for £5, and it's by Bard Games.
Interesting.
And I just think it's kind of cool.
Neat. So this week I've got one of the Warcry books actually for Warhammer AOS. Warcry,
Oh
if I
yes,
recall, is kind of like Kill Team but for Age of Sigmar. Would you say it's a
yes, it's a
correct
bit all,
estimate?
but there's originally your all chaos tribes trying to get into the Chaos Army by being the toughest tribe going. It's really cool models for it.
Hmm. But this is the Sentinels of Order one, which encompasses, for some reason, Lizardmen alongside uh what's that? Dark Elves? Why are... Oh no, that's yeah, High Elves,
Well, that
humans
bit there is
obviously.
yeah. The
Daughters of
Sigmar rolls
Cain.
into factions of order, chaos, and destruction and death.
Yeah. Why the heck are
I think they
Daughters
often
of Cain in the Order book? You know, let's not ask too many questions.
yeah, it's a pretty good point. I guess because
Fire
they're
Slayers,
elves
which I'm
and
assuming are a type of yeah, these are a subset of dwarves. Deepkin, what more
Leviathan, yeah,
elves? What? I'm confused. I haven't actually. This is the
the
first time I'm
sea
actually
elves.
looking through this book. You've got sort of robo dwarves, the
Oh, the
Caradron
Caradron.
overlords.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have
What?
airships and they are horrible to play against.
Oh, kind of like their aesthetic, but it's yeah. There's a lot in here that's like not in main Age of Sigmar, which is a shame. But also, I kind of get it because I guess some of these sort of mini factions would be hard to make into a full army. So there's a lot of things here that's like, yeah, we couldn't make these a full army, so here's a skirmish game sort of unit for them. which is nice. Um, but I
Yeah,
picked this up because it's got the Stormcast Eternal rules in it, and I do want to play some sort of Warcry. I wanted to play basically Age of Sigmar skirmish effectively because fielding full armies is a lot of work and it's very time consuming, whereas skirmish games are not like that. So I want to give this a shot at some point. As soon as I
I can
figure it
get
out.
I can get some skinks together. Get some skinks.
Yes. Yeah. It's got like some rules on narrative play and things like that as well. So, very nice. But
I
yeah.
do like the Warcry systems. I would recommend the Chaos models as well because
Mm.
some of the tribes look really cool. Um, I I wondered if I paid half and half for that one when it first came out.
Ooh.
Brett wanted the Iron Golems. No, someone else wanted the Iron Golems, and I wanted
Mm.
the other tribe, and they didn't want the rest. So I got so I got all the terrain. I got the Untamed Beasts. They all look like they're from Manowar or something. They're like very classic but
mm.
barbarian looking guys. They have a line with them. They're very cool. And the weird monsters that came with the game.
Oh.
You know, like the old Chaos Fury models they did, like a live type,
Yes.
like yeah, they had them. So they did some lovely new ones for just for Warcry, and made up things called Raptorixes that look like murder birds, and they're very very cool. I've just put in the thing.
Murder
Um,
birds? Ooh, murder bird.
they
We
look like
like some casual murder birds.
they're very cool looking. You can technically use them in Age of Sigmar. I'm not sure why you would, but they're just really cool looking Chaos models. You don't, I don't. It's sort of like do you remember Blackstone Fortress when that was around?
No, I don't actually. Blackstone Fortress?
Yeah, yes, it was a skirmish game set in the 40k universe where Imperial, where there was what's the term I'm thinking of? Yeah, rogue traders and their crews would go in to just root out chaos cultists.
Ah.
And the miniatures are like 40k quality, but a
Mm.
little bit more bespoke. So you get some really nice looking cultists, a few odd space marines. It was just a really cool idea. They discontinued after a while, sadly.
Yeah.
Warcry's a little bit similar, so just drop the image of the Raptorix in there because it's really cool looking.
I love this murder bird. It's very nice.
I don't know what else to call it. It's just definitely some sort of murder bird.
It's
Um,
like a weird, like half bird, half like I don't know, like dinosaur looking thing. I mean, I guess birds evolved from dinosaurs, but you get my point. It's very primal looking.
it's yeah, it's very chaosy, which I like. Well, they made they did a good job making the chaos monsters look like chaos monsters rather than just natural animals.
Yeah, but I like that at the back of this book they have the challenge battles section to give you some like actual
Mhm.
objective stuff. So things like like the where is it, the one at the very back? Oh yeah, halting the ritual looks really fucking metal. Like the terrain map that they got, like a sample terrain map idea, it looks metal as heck. Just like bridges over fire, and that's like really cool looking. It's just just stop the murder bird looking people doing a ritual. Makes sense.
Oh, with the Corvus Cabal, I think that's that one.
Yeah.
They're all like raveny.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun system because I've always liked the older style Warhammer Chaos rules where they were like, "Welcome to the Chaos Wastes. Everyone's mad here," and in some sort of weird cult.
Yee.
And so they actually gave some of the models now, and they look really cool. Um, they are only passable in Age of Sigmar though because they're too. There's not enough like standard weapon. There's not enough of the same weapon in each lot to make it really worth a unit.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can field them, but they're a mix of weapons that isn't great for a unit to unit sort of deployment.
Yeah.
It's a shame really because the one I do like are the Chaos Legionnaires are fantastic. Or just put them up. They look like proper chaos like Chaos Warrior inspired gladiators, and they're very very fun. My
But yeah.
first thought when I looked at my first thought about them was if I was going to use any of these guys and use any models for Dark Sun, I'd probably use these guys.
Hmm.
Just have they just kind of have the look down.
Oh, yeah, those are definitely some Dark Sun looking fellas. I like this. Is that like a Roman centurion style like feather helmet?
Yes,
I'm a sucker for that kind of Roman centurion helmet. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it just seems really powerful to me.
it's the Republican one, like the big flashy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's got that statement of yes, I'm wearing like a feather mohawk. Fuck you.
got the old samurai logic of I'm wearing a big hat. Come and fight me.
But yeah, that's the Warcry Sentence of Order book. A lot of it is just mostly rules, but there's a bit of fluff and a bit of blurb in there, which is nice, sort of splashed in, so you get to know all the sort of mini factions, etc. And it is just nice to have a system where some of the lesser things in Warhammer are actually
Yeah, they flesh out the
spotlighted.
Chaos Waste very nicely.
Yes.
Like all the
Anyway,
tribes are metal as hell, though.
yes.
Great, great, great. Yes.
Do we have critical fumbles this week? I think we do.
Do we? I feel like I've forgotten it, and I know I had one half an hour ago.
I mean, my critical fumble is Warhammer related. That might give you a hint.
No, I've already won right. That's fun.
So,
Um,
from what I've heard, Games Workshop is like discontinuing a lot of models, like
Ace of
a
Chaos.
lot. Yeah,
Was
they
I was mentioning this just yesterday with Brett. Yeah.
they're having another big miniature purge for no reason.
Which is really funny how they reintroduced the Bretonians.
Yep.
Yes, lots of angry Beasts of Chaos players. That their entire faction is now out of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, and someone mentioned in on Twitter. I mean, take it with a pinch of salt. It's Twitter, but someone joked because they thought it was funny. They're reducing the amount of Stormcast Eternal minis by like a lot. So somebody joked, does that mean they're gonna have to change the statue outside of Warhammer World?
Yeah, they did see that.
So
They'll have to just extend his legs a bit.
yeah, because normally this wouldn't be an issue, but you know how like anal some Games Workshop stores are about. No, no, you can only use minis that are currently in production, because fuck you.
It's like keep up.
It's like no, I bought these with my money. I will
And they're
use
Games
what I
Workshop,
bought with my
so
money. Meanwhile, because they're like, oh, we've got rid of a bunch of things because their mods are outdated, but they're still using like the 20-year-old near enough like molds for the gutter runners for Skaven. Like, what do you mean that some of things are outdated? You're still using some 20-year-old models. What do you mean?
there are Eldar players still using models from 1995.
It's like, what?
Only
Oh,
recently did new models for them. It took them so long to get the Eldar right.
yeah. Or
Even
it's
then,
like,
there's a couple of Absolute Warriors they haven't
I,
updated yet.
yeah, it's like I know some of the old world stuff they brought back isn't even new models. It's like, what do
Tomb
you?
Kings is the same on Skellies.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, you don't have they kind of already perfected Skellies like when Tomb Kings first came
Yeah,
out, but still,
how
it's like, what do you mean your models and molds are outdated when you're still using 20-year-old molds? I don't get it.
the same as well because I do happen to have a a small amount of Beastmen as well.
Hmm.
But I guess I can't use anymore. That's fun.
Ugh. So that's my critical fumble for the week. I'm like, that thanks Games Workshop. Yeah, let's just completely
Once
invalidate
again,
half of our community's purchases again.
yeah. What have I? Well, I got ill, so that wasn't really good. That's definitely a fumble of sorts.
A fumble of a sort.
Yes. Um, I don't think I've done it enough this week to have got something that wrong. Annoyingly,
Aw.
yeah.
Uh,
Been sorry, but perhaps I humble brag. I've been too ill to be wrong this week.
I've been too ill to make a mistake or notice that some other companies made a big mistake this week.
Apparently so.
Uh, Well, moving swiftly on then to our skirmish report. Perhaps you could tell me a bit more about that game you had, this Blood
Oh
Bowl
God.
game, the specifics.
Um, well, Brett did score one in the second half,
Hey,
but yeah, the second half was a lot more tactical than the first half,
mm,
but every bit as silly because the tendency is to just for the game to devolve into a big punch up, despite it being a ball game.
so I was about to make a joke and say so footy in the 1970s.
Yeah, but more like rugby.
Yeah, yeah.
And because it's really hard to roll over, because so when you hit someone, you roll to hit them. And if you knock them over, you roll to see if their armor breaks, and then you roll injuries.
Makes sense.
But it's really hard to get, or apparently on average, at least according to that game, it's really hard to get to get over the armor roll.
Uh-oh.
So what ended up happening was a lot of people punching each other, then getting up, then punching each other again. Then eventually we remembered, oh yeah, there's a ball game somewhere involved here. But the ball was in the middle of the fight, so somehow had to get the ball out of there. And then there was punching all the way around.
Just
Bit of
punching
tactical
around the
moving, but
ball.
mostly brawling. Yeah, mostly brawling. To be honest, and the troll. Okay, at least in the second game, it did remember to get up this time.
Hey, we take those. It took them long enough, but they got there in the end. It's just the
So
the
see,
the troll is just the allegory for Wayne Rooney. Does nothing half the game, and then eventually remembers, oh yeah, I'm a football player. Best start
okay,
actually being football-y.
yeah,
I have
yeah, dear.
I haven't followed football in like 10 years. I don't even know if Wayne Rooney's
This
still
is
relevant.
probably not managing now, isn't he? If he's around,
Probably.
so it's the player to like team manager pipeline.
Yeah. Unless you're David Beckham, in which case you're like playing until like you're just a skeleton on the football pitch, just still playing for some reason.
He doesn't have to. He just wants to at this point.
Pass to me, Lanzarote. I can get the strike. Mate, you're like 130 years old. What are you doing here?
I think he's won football.
He's won football. Yeah. He's just happy to be
He
there.
was on the England team when it was really important and popular to be on the England team.
Yes.
He did really well during his best years. He's made all the money he's ever going to need,
Yeah.
and now he can play football with whoever he feels like, whenever he wants.
Not to mention the fact that he'll basically just be involved in merch for till like the rest of time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I
He
mean,
had a famous haircut. He had everything. He's done it.
unless like another like absolute weight legend of football shows up, he basically just is the face of the England team, even if he's not playing anymore. He just is the face.
He's done it.
He is
I don't.
England. He is England. He's just the entire country at this point.
Yeah, even if he was a bit like older now, he doesn't have to be that good anymore. He's already used up
Yeah,
that best bit when it
but
mattered. So
yeah.
yeah,
But my skirmish report of the week is less football, but I guess still the same kind of punch-uppy brawly stuff, sort of. Because I've been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering. Obviously, I normally do that,
oh
but like
no,
I've been playing with the new Caesar's Legion deck,
how does
and
it play?
it needs work. It only has it's a make token like soldiers, throw them haphazardly at somebody, and if they die, who cares? I get a bonus from when they die. So when you make tokens, you do things. When the tokens die, you do things. The only problem is there's not that many engines in the deck that actually makes tokens consistently. Because you need
Okay.
to. Because Caesar wants to sack tokens to make tokens and then do other things, because he makes basically you sack one, you make two, and then do something else. The problem is making that first token, because you don't really want to sacrifice any of your non-token stuff, because the things they do are just generally good. So it's like giving your legendary humans indestructible, or giving tokens this ability or X, Y, and Z. So you don't really want to sack them off. You need a token to start the ball rolling, and that's the hard part. The amount of games I've just durdled and done nothing because I'm like, where's my token engine? And then other times it's been like, oh, everyone's things are just dying. I guess you just die to effect damage then? Lol. But I'm working on
Oh,
refining it.
just put the TARDIS.
Just put the TARDIS in. It is quite funny. The legate is hilarious in this game. So what Legate Lanius does is his ability is called Decimate. So I think when he's put into play, everyone else has to sacrifice a tenth of their creatures, which gets into some stupid math at some point.
What?
Yeah. So normally it's like, oh, if you've got 10 or less, you sack one. If you've got 20 or less, sack two, etc. But it's still just like, yeah, I have to like do maths now. Brilliant. I have to do,
I
I
think
have
you
to
should
do
put that as many times
mathematics.
as you can get it in.
Mi-
Just keep making people do maths and just win that
just
victory.
just the Magic the Gathering do maths deck. Yeah, I'm dividing your attacking creature's power and toughness by pi. What?
What?
I don't even know how to calculate this damage. Yeah, I just took 1.249 damage. Lol. You can't kill me. I've got 8.36 life left. I've got
Just point
0.386 of
three.
alive.
You round that up or down.
I assume that you round up or down, but the idea of having like less than a full point of life left is funny to me.
It does keep you in the game though.
Imagine getting your life halved after that. Yeah, I've got 0.00001 life left.
And if you're regaining, you've just got an awkward 0.1 left, just dangling on your life points.
Like I'm basically like the crusty looking fossilized corpse they found, but I'm somehow still moving. So that fossilized, not quite, well, I mean, ancient person, but looks like an alien. You've seen the meme, just that. No, or that grandma from SpongeBob. Like, how are you still alive? I don't know. Uh, but that's been my last couple weeks. I'm enjoying the deck, but it needs a lot of work to actually make it actually do things. And on that note, we are moving on to Explorers Guild this week. Where are we going on our travels throughout the multiverse?
I have another setting I've been tinkering with and which I quite like.
Nice.
Which I based it on the first bits of historical anything I really got interested in was I remember it was about 17. Went down to Scotland near Glencoe, so very rurally, quite nice, quite near, literally near the one of the bigger locks, and they had a whole lot of clan history, and that's where I started reading history books for the first time willingly, and I wanted to base
Hmm.
base a whole setting off sort of like the late Highlands Scotland. So I
Yeah.
called it Calradian. So it's all Glen and Heather and Loch. Um, Lots of druidic magic. There's sort of like a holdout from centuries ago. It's like a setting where firearms are sort of there, but they're pretty rare because it's not exactly a rich. Not it's not a rich setting really.
Hmm.
So the clans, they've got what they've got. They do have those nice do have the nice broadswords, which are good, but it's sort of like every sort of older Scottish stereotype, and I've put it in there to some degree, tinkered with it.
Yeah.
Um, so they got the shield, got the broadswords, the pole arms. There are some guns, but they're kind of rare and they're not standardized in the slightest. Um, And a lot of it was about how the clans kind of don't like each other, and some of them really do, and then some clans hate those clans because they like that clan. It's like being back in school. Um, Lots of clicks, but with more aggressive accents, and more bloodshed, really.
Interesting.
That and lots of druidic magic. Um, Sort of like like the whole wanted to have it's like the whole the whole pagan faith and worship of Gaia and the like the natural world and stuff.
Yeah.
Wanted to include that as part of a subculture thing where it's an established fact that they have that druids are really common in certain parts of Calradia, and most of those druids are the more like nature over everything, screw you guys kind of druids, rather than the more balanced type of druids you might see.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Something it's all based on the clans though. Like some clans don't do druid magic whatsoever because they worship the new gods, and the old gods are more like druidy, naturey style gods, usually gods of hunger or warmth, hearth and home, and all this kind of stuff. And then you have like the new gods, which are a bit more monotheistic. Um, that and loads of fairies, which I haven't got quite into putting in. So it's a lot of genuinely British style mythology, which is something you really don't see much in D&D for some reason.
Yeah.
You do see the staples, like your banshees and stuff, but you don't see the more weirder regional stuff, which I quite find quite interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, so something a little more British this time. Just but
A
I
little
wanted to
more
pay
British.
a little bit of homage to stuff I that really got me into history in general. Just fantasize it a little bit while
Hmm.
keeping it like half grounded.
Makes sense.
And the other thing as well, of course, it being not quite Scotland, there are kilts, there are chiefs, and obviously there's bagpipes. I've done a small monster manual already for it for all the clan stuff. So everything from like basic clan warriors to chieftains to bagpipers, they have their own stats. So if you want to use them, you don't just have the generic tribesman stat block. You got that and all the rest, all the funny bits as well. That's a lot of complaint to see about fifth edition is the combat sporing. And
Yeah.
that might be because there's not a whole lot of variety individually for certain monsters. Rather like with hobgoblins, they might just say, "It's a hobgoblin. Give him a sword or give him a spear," and it's got the same stat block, which sometimes is a bit dull.
Yeah.
So I do a little bit extra on top of that, just to and add a bit more flavor to it, because in the actual because the way the tribes saw it, um, not just anyone could be a bagpiper. It's like you had to be. The cult was based on first you had the chief who was, you know, king shit, the biggest man on campus.
Hmm.
Then under him he had a regiment of his best men, and then amongst them you'd have like the best fighters in the clan or his best friends, depending on the clan. Usually both. Then you'd have the bagpipers who would have the honor of going into battle going into battle. Um, they would they would actually take part in a fight, but it was seen as like a kind of a dick move to attack the bagpiper.
Hmm.
So they were still there in the fight, but they weren't. They were more focused on blaring away than fighting more often than not. And then you had like the conscripts, lads between 16 and 60. They can hold a sword, they can hold a sort of spear, and maybe be useful. Um, so sort of base it loosely on that structure. So it's quite fun. Also, it's just if you like Scotland memes, it's a setting I think you might like. Um, it's not. Feel free to drop it into any of your other games as well. If you need a stand-in, it's about Scottish as you're gonna get
Hmm.
outside of actually being Scottish, which I can't do very well.
Can confirm, not Scottish. Ooh, yep. So this week, also the new set for Magic Gathering Thunder Junction has just come out. So it's a
Oh
new
yes.
plane, which is literally just like cowboy, like the Wild West. Because like the in law, the Omen Path is open, so people can like explore other dimensions. So Thunder Junction was otherwise uninhabited, other than like by cactus
Oh,
folk up until like effectively like travelers came here. So I literally affect like the Wild West kind of thing, but sort of just fantasy
right.
Wild West. But it is like so steeped in funny cowboy stuff that even though the set is kind of like unremarkable, the lore is just chef's kiss level of stupid. We've got cactus folk, which makes me think of the Cactuar from Final Fantasy, and I'm like, yes. We've got angel cows.
Angel cows.
Yeah, because like a Wild West trope is, cows are sacred, and so there's a card called Holy Cow. It's just literally just a flying cow. There's
Okay.
an angel ox. There's cow. And that's absolutely brilliant. There's a big old like train that goes between like the five main zones, which is pretty cool. I like trains, especially weird ones. There's like some outlaw stuff going on. There's a vault heist, which is kind of weird, but I kind of vibe with it. Yeah, it's just a really nice. I like my deserty places and I like cowboy things, so I'm very happy with this. There's a giant creature that's literally just a sentient, gigantic tumbleweed, which is funny. It's just interesting things like that. Oh,
Can you?
there's also a scorpion dragon.
That's kind of cool. Can you play as Riding Zan Samurai Gunman? Don't know.
I feel like there probably is like some samurai like gunman here. Honestly, I feel like that might actually be something that wouldn't look too out of place. There's a literal town called Tarnation on this plane.
What intonation? Yeah, what intonation? Um,
Um, yeah, it's a nice, very down to earth, very basic head empty plane. Admittedly, it's like a load of just random planeswalkers and people visiting it, but its base level is just yeah. This is just cowboy land, and it doesn't have to be more complex like than that. Looking at you, murders at Karlov Manor, requiring me to understand like the entire lore of Cluedo to figure out what the fuck is happening on this particular set. Thanks, game. Just give me something
I love
simple like
the
just
yeah.
cowboys.
I love the alien invasion arc, Cluedo.
I love the arc where like Lazav the multifarious shapeshifter like breaks a lead pipe and has to flee through the garden to avoid being chased down by like a giant slime.
I never thought about that while playing Cluedo. Why is there a lead pipe lying around the house?
That's a that's a great question.
Like, what's that doing there?
Why is there just a random pipe? Yeah.
Like, it's a nice manor as well, so there's not like some rusty old pipe just hanging around, unless someone brought it with intent to hurt someone.
I feel like I'd probably die from the lead poisoning before I die from the blunt force trauma of the attack. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's why they brought it with them. The intent wasn't to kill someone with blunt force trauma. It was to insert it into the plumbing system to slowly kill somebody with lead poisoning.
Perfect, yet very deliberately slow crime.
The perfect crime. Ignore the fact it's really slow.
But it will work eventually.
Give it 10 years.
That is some petty revenge, that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just thought it was interesting little plane. Go check it out, like the lore of this, because it's kind of interesting. There's not a huge amount here because this set kind of focuses more on the outlaws invading the vault than it does the plane itself. But it gives you kind of just about enough background to be like, I can vibe with this world.
That does sound fun. I do like a little bit of Wild West stuff, the old spaghetti westerns, Clint Eastwood one. So
I
I could probably
I
have some
would
fun with that.
I would unironically love to see this made into a D&D book if they put in a section of like a campaign related thing where you do effectively the Great Train Robbery.
But the rule is when you're playing it, you gotta like film it in black and white, and you're not allowed to talk. You have to all hold up cue cards with what you're saying on it.
Everybody's got to have like at least 10-gallon hats. Your initiative is not tracked by a roll, it's by how tall, how many gallons your hat is. The person with the most gallons in their hat goes first.
Wait. So that's how they measured hats. They filling the hats up to test this, or
Actually, yeah,
that's
I'm gonna have to Google this, aren't they? Why are they called 10-gallon hats? Okay. America. Okay. 10-gallon sombrero was a. Oh, so it's a sombrero. It was a hat with a tall enough crown it could hold 10 hat bands. But American cowboys
oh.
anglicized the word to gallon and started referring their own sombrero-inspired headgear as 10-gallon hat. So it actually has nothing to do with gallons of like as the unit of liquid
I just
measurement.
wanted an American reference. That's okay.
Thanks, America. Thanks. I feel like I've been bamboozled. Apparently, a 10-gallon hat usually can only hold about 3/4 of a gallon. So it can't even fit 10 gallons. It can't even fit a gallon. What? Anyway, on that weird note, speaking of going back in time and learning some horrible truths, time for the ruling time machine. What old rules, what new rules are we fixing with old parts this week?
Let's have a look. On me. Have a- Oh, that's a fun one. Just have a list of them I could have used this week.
Ooh.
Um, so they used to have rules for NPCs reacting to stuff,
Oh, that's
which
actually
which
useful.
which you could just DM that with common sense, but I guess they wanted it in writing.
Yeah.
So the rule is apparently so when you encounter an NPC or monster, you roll 2d6 and see how they feel about it.
Hmm.
So they can be neutral, cautious, attack them on sight, or they're aggressive, or friendly if you roll like 12.
Tss, interesting. So you've
I
slighted
kind of
me.
like that one.
I will let you live for now.
I don't mind that rule, to be fair, because that's how I run a lot of animal encounters anyway.
Fairs.
Because if you see an animal in the wild, it doesn't often just go off the handle at you without any warning.
Hmm.
It gets a bit wary and neutral, sure. Uh,
They most sort of just sit there and just sort of like growl and hiss at you like, oi, don't come any
yeah, they're
closer.
posturing it. They're not. Yeah, I kind of like that. With NPCs, it might be a bit weird though, because depending on what players will say, I quite like that.
Yeah.
The way to fix that is I wouldn't have it be randomized every time because DMing you got to think. Well, if it's an MP, if it's a humanoid as well, they're not going to be quite as gung ho probably because they have a bit more reasoning about it.
Yeah, and it will obviously differ from humanoid person to humanoid person. You might find that one person in particular is just extremely high strung and will just, I don't know, to quote, like, I guess, going back to Wild Western tropes, that, like, trigger happy prospector who will just shoot you if you look at him wrong.
Crunky old Joe.
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm just highly drunk. You look at me, I take that as a personal attack, and I will shoot you with my 6-shooter. So okay.
He probably fought in the Civil War too.
Yeah. No one knows what side he fought on, though. Even he doesn't know.
Yeah, but he's old enough to have done it.
Yeah.
Um, the way it fits it was like with like a reputation system.
Mm.
So go from -10 to 10, just a rough estimate.
Yeah.
So it depending on like which can always shift as well.
Mm.
So fail to do a quest, fail to request a certain way. Maybe you do it right, but you cock something up along the way. You might get less reputation for it. Or if you completely fail to do it and it goes horribly wrong, or you do something, when players start to experiment with weird ideas and it goes completely horribly wrong,
Yes.
that could have like a harsh, like -2, -3 penalty.
Ooh. Like, you
But that,
absolute
that, that would,
sponge. What
yeah.
have you done?
But that would be something like going full on murder hobo, I think.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
Uh,
I tried solving your rat problem. There were a
burn
lot
the
of
tavern down.
rats. I might have I might have burnt the tavern down. Sorry. What do you mean? Bro, I could have burnt
That's like
like the
yeah,
worst case scenario
that's
kind
like
of
a
stuff.
-5. Get out of town. You're not welcome here.
Yeah, like I it's a case of I appreciate that you tried, but that you were doing it out of good intentions. But get the heck out of here! I'm not even angry at you. You're just a liability. Leave.
Or they were being pressured, or the whole quest was to go and make someone sure they're not dying, and they died
Because
because
of
of
you.
something they directly did.
Hmm. It's like, you idiot.
That was the chief's daughter, you twat.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think that would be quite good for DMs because then you can have good justification if your DM's not being really unbalanced and unfair about it.
Mm.
They can fairly go, well, your reputation in this part of the country is whatever. So maybe certain things will affect, like maybe prices are better or worse. Some people won't trade with you. You might be able to get in.
Mm.
Might be able to get a favor or a boon from whoever's in charge. Maybe have it good with a certain faction within the area.
Yes.
It just makes so the players aren't just going from town to town. They're making memories. So if they do go back, they've got a reputation to cling on to. You
Yeah.
also end up with like some fun ideas for like cross pollinating with it. So if your reputation's really good with one faction or one part of the world, some part of the world that utterly hates them on principle,
Kind of
yeah,
like
they're
how
not happy.
Fallout New Vegas does it. So, like, if you gain reputation with the NCR, you gain infamy with the Legion, and vice versa.
Yeah,
Because, like, you're
and if
literally
they found
helping
out,
our enemy. Like, bruh, you're helping out our enemy. What are you doing?
yeah, make players think a bit more about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and is it
Yeah.
worth it?
And it's also a case of sometimes it's like, well, we don't actually hate either of these factions because they're both okay people, but these factions hate the fuck out of each other. So I guess we don't really have a choice but to choose.
Yeah, where diplomacy has outright failed, rather than no one can just talk this out.
Hmm.
I think a
Well,
lot of parties will resort, which is better than killing them, I suppose. But
yeah.
sometimes diplomacy sort of has a reason for not working was whatsoever.
Sometimes two different groups of people just really fucking hate the pants off each other for like
They
borderline
don't
no
want to get
reason.
along, no matter what you
Yeah.
tell them.
Dwarves and elves are natural enemies. Like dwarves and humans, and dwarves and gnomes, and dwarves and other dwarves. Damn dwarves! They ruined Mordok!
And Wait, is there? I think that's every group though. I can't think of a single group that's apart from Mike. No, Mike and his fight too.
Yep. every
Uh,
like sentient race kind of like just doesn't get along with some members of their own
Zombies.
kind. Yeah, oh yeah. I
There's the
mean,
one zombies. They
although
don't think.
I
It's
mean, I guess
fucking
there's like higher tier undead that might not get along with each other. Can you imagine like a feud
vampires
between
hate each
two
other. That's the other
liches?
one.
Yeah, liches might have feuds with each other. Um,
Vampires absolutely do.
yeah.
Famous for it. That's when you get immortal. What do you do after the first 100 years?
Well, yeah. I guess like you've just spent eternity in the same existence as someone else who's also living for eternity. You'd probably hate them too. You like the little things would eventually stop being little things to you. Oh,
Well, you don't. There's not many married vampires in fiction.
yeah. I don't like Astarion. He just the way he sips his wine after like the 150th time really started to piss me off. Don't like that guy.
He slurps really loud.
Like it's one of the things that's like if you had like a normal human lifetime or even like a dwarven lifetime, wouldn't care. But the fact that you've been around for like nearly 1,000 odd years, that's when it starts to get annoying. It's like,
Yeah, what's fun like vampirism quite fun to think about because there's just the ramifications of it quite funny. Like when you get past the initial like, what do you do forever? Especially when you
mm,
can't go out in the sunlight. There's the funny bits like imagine like putting up with your family as they get into like ancient territory.
yes.
Like you've all heard like boomer stories. Imagine boomer stories from like 1,000 years ago.
Oh, back in my day,
That's gotta be annoying.
it'd be the back in my day we used to like poop in outhouses. Oh yeah, back in my day you used to have to even have outhouses. You just poop wherever. Like what? I mean, okay,
Because yeah, there's only like
you lived in like the Bronze Age. Sit down.
yeah.
Back in Grog day, Grog had to go walk 20 mile to kill mammoth with stick. Yes. Oh, great
His
great
uncle didn't even
granddad
have a stick.
Grog. Yes, great granddad Grog. We're aware of the struggles of your youth. Now let us
He didn't
be
get,
you.
that's bad. His uncle didn't get the stick. His bare hands.
Grung's uncle didn't even have stick.
Frog was lucky to have stick.
And then just becomes like it just becomes the ultimate sort of vampire
Oh,
pissing
Yorkshireman.
contest of
The
who
full
had
Yorkshireman sketch.
who had the worst time period as it just goes backwards.
To be fair, that's something you don't see a lot in fiction, just vampire cavemen. That'd be
Oh,
fascinating.
I imagine like a barely evolved like even pre-caveman, just this vampiric sort of monkey that's like barely like human.
That sounds like that sounds like several low-budget 80s movies I've definitely seen. It'd be called like Blood Monkey.
See, if they'd put like a vampire monkey man into the then that's what they need to do for the sequel of You're the Hunt of the Future.
Oh God, yes.
Grog, the vampire of the past.
The Blood Beast.
Yes.
And it would be like clearly just some dude in a funny costume.
Just like low budget like fur
Oh
makeup put
yeah.
on him with maybe
That
like
is a
those
movie I
muscle
would like to
suits.
see weirdly like get a sequel with no context explanation.
Just
It's your. We want to know your.
we all know the famous 80s icon that You're the Hunter of the Future.
Ironically, in Argentina, they would know that. That's where the comic came from.
Ah.
Uh,
Right. And on that derailed nonsense, I think it's time to end the stream before we go even further beyond in terms of wackiness. Join us next week. We'll be having more homebrew stuff done. And yeah, bye bye for now, everybody. Let's raid out.
see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, everybody. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream here. I think. Bye bye all. Stay poggers.
Hey, who are we raiding?
I'm not gonna do a raid out this week. We've not got a huge audience, so I'll just carry on. Right, bye all.
The long the long ship is away. It's being repaired.